Echoes of the Lost, Episode 2, The Pattern Beneath the Dust. Across every continent, fragments of the same design emerge. Grids, canals, roads, and monuments aligned with a precision that mocks coincidence. Beneath centuries of soil, ash, and overgrowth, geometry persists like a heartbeat beneath the dust. In jungles devoured by vines, deserts scoured by wind, and plains thought forever barren, the faint signatures of intention rise again. Lines too straight, angles too perfect, and foundations too deliberate to belong to chance. From satellite imagery and LiDAR sweeps, a silent chorus reveals itself, a network of sacred geometry, fractal and recursive, echoing across continents once thought isolated. Cities separated by oceans share identical mathematical fingerprints, golden ratios etched in temple walls, cardinal alignments fixed to solstices, monuments that hum with magnetic resonance. These were not accidents of architecture. They were calculations of consciousness. In the buried cities of the Amazon, the engineered black earth of Terra Preta defies time, its self-replicating infertility as though encoded with memory. Across the African plateaus, monoliths aligned to the stars of Orion, the same pattern mirrored in Giza and Angkor. Step pyramids rise in China, Mesoamerica, and the Mediterranean, built by hands separated by millennia, yet guided by the same unseen compass. The message repeats itself. Civilization did not evolve at random. It was surveyed, mapped, and synchronized. What if these weren't mere settlements, but instruments? Machines of stone and purpose designed to resonate with Earth's magnetic field, channeling natural energy through form, frequency, and intention. Each structure a node, each monument a transmitter, harmonizing planetary forces rather than consuming them. Symbols carved into basalt, etched in gold, or woven into ritual garments emerge as fragments of a singular language, one that measures not distance or time, but vibration. Even the so-called primitive petroglyphs pulse with geometric precision, encoding harmonic intervals like visual sound. To those who understood, these were not art, they were equations. Perhaps the ancients were not merely builders, but engineers of resonance. Their temples were not tombs, they were tuning forks. Their myths were not allegory, they were instructions. They worked with plasma, magnetism, and the flow of water, shaping energy through the same forces that animate lightning, auroras, and the human heartbeat. What we call spirituality, they may have called science. What we call technology, they embodied through harmony with the Earth's own frequency, silent, renewable, and boundless, power drawn not from fire, but from balance. But then, silence. The knowledge folded in on itself, hidden beneath layers of sand and centuries. Wars, floods, and deliberate erasures served the chain of memory. Entire epochs were rewritten to favor new gods and new empires. By the time industrial civilization rose, we were digging up the remnants of machines we could no longer name, mistaking instruments of mastery for relics of myth. Across the world, from the basalt plains of Ethiopia to the high valleys of Tibet, we find traces of stone softened and molded as if by heatless fire, forms impossible by chisel alone. Canal systems carved with laser precision, terraces mapped to ley lines, and buried networks suggest a design far older and far more deliberate than history allows. These aren't whispers of superstition. They are echoes of understanding. An understanding of gravity, sound, and life force that modern science is only beginning to rediscover through plasma physics, semantics, and quantum resonance. The ancients spoke in form what we are only now beginning to measure in formulas. And perhaps the reason this knowledge was hidden was not mystery, but control. Control the story of humanity's past, and you control the boundaries of its future. Erase the truth of what we were capable of, and you erase what we might become again. The ones who came before may have lived not in the shadow of ignorance, but in the balance of equilibrium, a world that worked with energy rather than against it. They knew that power extracted becomes destruction, but power harmonized becomes creation. So the question is not whether these patterns exist, but why we no longer see them. Who buried the lines? Who redrew the maps? And who still keeps the keys? Perhaps the myth of levitating stones, singing metals, and earth-born energy are not fantasies, but fractured memories, recollections of a time when civilizations were not divided by language or continents, but connected by frequency, a time when humanity remembered that to build was to balance, to measure was to listen, and to know the earth was to know ourselves. The pattern remains waiting beneath the dust.